You have to make memories, but with memories, you have to have the good times, you have to have the low times. And it's how you layer those, how you build upon and learn from it. And I think it's a learning experience, one that none of us will ever forget.
Christian Edwards is a man who has played at the highest level of the beautiful game, making 400 appearances for Bristol Rovers, Nottingham Forest and Swansea City, as well as representing his country. But when it came to coaching, he took on one of the most challenging jobs out there, joining university side Cardiff Met, who were at the time in the lowly depths of Welsh Division 3.
That's how the football club that I knew it as started. An empty space, not much really happening, lots of players that thought that they knew how to play football, looked good with regards to the clothing that they had on, the football boots they had, but really when it came to the sense of football, they had no idea whatsoever. The context itself, lowest depths of Welsh football, Division 3, not much infrastructure, no administration, couple of balls, couple of cones, and that was it really.
What Christian needed to get out of the lower divisions was a special talent. Fortunately, his and Cardiff Met's prayers were answered in the form of striker Elliot Evans, who joined the club and helped lay the foundations of a winning team with which Christian could then build his team upon.
Stroke and galw amdani Rhys Thomas, Elliot Evans!
It was sort of the early stage of Swanee's reign, where he was sort of getting his stamp on things and trying to put his ideas across with players. I think he might have had a bit of resistance in the year before I came. There was a few players who maybe weren't sort of didn't have that professional mentality and things like that, which he saw them and got rid of them, for want of a better way of saying it.
Christian knew he needed to make changes to progress the club forward and decided to recruit coaches and players with similar ideologies as his own, giving Cardiff Met an identity to build upon. The Archers slowly started to develop and improve under the rejuvenated coaching staff and squad, and the team gained back-to-back promotions. During this time, they also improved their infrastructure, which included the building of a 3G pitch. The team under Christian had achieved a remarkable 3 promotions in 4 seasons and had finally reached the holy grail of the Welsh Premier League.
People were thinking, right, they'll be straight back down, they'll be nothing, they'll be useless. And we nearly proved them right after those games. And I think we knew that we'd come close a few times. You know, even in the first game, Airbus, it was fine margins and little learning. It's a learning that we had to do to sort of compete at that level.
Will Fuller is the Archers' #1 goalkeeper. Will arrived at Cardiff Met when Christian was still building the squad, but quickly became a leader within the ranks and is now juggling working full-time and playing in the Welsh Premier League with the team. After the majority of Wales had Cardiff Met favourites to be relegated, Met had nothing to lose in the top flight. The team rallied together in their first season and proved the doubters wrong by finishing in the top 6 at the first time of asking, and thus qualified for the Europa League playoff, where they beat Newtown to set up a final against Bangor City.
And we probably built them up too much and respected them too much, but when you lose by 1 goal, it's horrible. Looking back, it might have been too soon, it might have been, but you never know, we could have gone on to do something brilliant in Europe that year.
Even after a successful first season in the Welsh Premier League, people still doubted Cardiff Met's ability to repeat their achievements of last season. And with that doubt fueling and driving Christian and his men, they made it 2 successive seasons in the top 6 and overcame bitter rivals Barry Town in the semis to set up a tasty encounter with Cefn Druids in the playoff final.
I think the word empty is probably what sums it up. You sort of feel sort of a bit numb. Everything you've worked for that year, you've put all those training sessions in, all those games, all those minutes, and you're just empty. You just think, what's it all been for? You haven't achieved anything. No one remembers second places, no one remembers losers.
That's probably one of my hardest jobs really, as being the manager and director of football, is to pick up those players that summer. After about 2 days myself, I was back ready, wanting that desire to go again the following year, but it took me a while to convince 1 or 2 of the coaches to carry on, and I think the players were hurt that summer.
After the devastation of losing 2 finals in a row, Christian managed to find the strength within himself and within the team to go again. While they were struggling in the league, Met managed to do something that they had not achieved in 40 years and won a domestic trophy in the form of the Nathaniel MG Cup.
Cardiff.
This win rallied the team forward in their domestic campaign, and the Archers managed to finish 7th in the league. Their first test was Carnarvon, and after falling behind early on, the team showed resilience and character to fight back and win, setting up a third successive Europa League playoff final matchup, this time against Bala Town. Could they make it third time lucky?
Me, it was more about if we were to lose this game, how would we pick the players up this time? The third final, that would have been very difficult, and it probably would have been my last game, I think, as manager, because to do it for 10 years and 3 finals, knowing that you weren't going to succeed on the third time, it was probably time to call it a day.
Burke, Jones!
It was a bit of a sloppy goal on our part. Again, you're thinking, here we go again, sort of third year on the banks, we've gone 1-0 down, we lost the last 2 1-0, and you're thinking, oh, not again.
Et o'r blaen, ond yn cynrychioli Bangor. Mae hwnna I lwybr Will Evans. Mae Elliot Evans yn hitio mewn. Ydy mynd I gyrraedd? Ydy mae!
The difference was at Bala was the length of time it took us to equalise, which was I think only about 8 minutes. Elliot Evans equalised, and obviously you're back at parity then. And anything can happen, which is what hadn't happened in the previous 2 finals.
Gymaint yn aros ac yn gobeithio am y bêl dda! Unwaith eto ddi ar y bar! Ac eto ddi ar y bar!
They had, I think the cross comes in and he heads it against the bar, and I'm on the floor, and I can remember looking at the whole goal, and the Bala player's running in, and he's got the whole goal to aim at, and he heads it against the bar. And I remember lying on the floor thinking, no, it's done, it's over. And he hits the bar. And still to this day, I have no idea how he's missed. But you're thinking, okay, this might be our day here, you know. It might be our time, it might be our moment. But I clearly remember lying on the floor thinking, it's over, it's done. And it being a horrible feeling, and then he misses.
Building up to the final, Will and the performance analysis team worked together to analyse Bala's penalties to see where they placed them.
I think everyone we taped up, there's 4 players on here, 3 took penalties and 1 was off the pitch, and the 3 that we've got here all went exactly where the bottle says.
After the remarkable performance of Will saving 3 out of the 4 penalties, it all came down to this strike, Elliot Evans versus Keegan Jones.
With the penalties that were taken, but if anybody was to ask you to write a moment or write a script about a particular player with longevity at a football club, to step up to score the winning penalty to take the club into Europe, and it was going to be Elliot Evans.
I remember just as I was leaving sort of the group, ready for my walk, a few of the boys were like, come on Els, come on, and that sort of galvanised me a little bit to think, yeah, come on, like we can do this now, it's our moment.
I honestly believed he was going to score. I thought his performances over the last 3 years have been at that standard. I thought it would be apt if Elliot was to score the goal or score the penalty to take us into Europe.
Elliot Evans!
Yes, probably like one of the best feelings you could ever get in football. That sort of split 3, 4, 5 seconds that you get as you're running off before your teammates get to you. If you could bottle that up, it's a bit of a cliche in that sense. If you could bottle it up and take it away with you and use it whenever you wanted, you would, because it was just elation.
I think I can still hear that kind of, I wouldn't say crackle, but that whip of the net when the ball hits it, and then the rest is you can hear the commentators up in the box screaming, Met Cardiff, you can see them with the fans behind the goal. I've got Di Bowen in a headlock rolling around the floor, just the first person I could grab hold of. And it was just 10 years of real just emotion I thought that's come out.
Just often flicking onto my phone and things like that, and looking at the news reports that were coming through about us and things like that. So yeah, that month leading up to it after my holiday was a really good month. It was such a buzz around the place. You know, we had Sky, I think BT might have done a piece.
Cardiff Met seized their shot at European glory via the Welsh Premier League. It took a penalty shootout to make it through. And former Ipswich goalkeeper Will Fuller made notes on his water bottle before making 2 crucial saves.
I think it's hard to put into words what exactly it means. And yeah, a lot's been made of the journey that we've been on. It's an unbelievable journey. It's a bit of a fairy tale story, really. I don't think this is the end, though. I really don't see this as an end point for Cardiff Met.
We were fortunate to travel out to Switzerland and to Nyon, to the draw, to UEFA headquarters, and we're probably there when the Champions League music played. It's synonymous with European football. That's the name is up there on the board, and then the balls go into the pot, and there's the main guys messing around to do the draw with the balls, and out pops Progress's name, and then out drops our name. You're thinking, wow, this is now for real.
But in fairness, the whole trip was just so well planned. It was perfect for what we needed, and it was so focused. Everybody's focus was on that 90 minutes. Whether it was going for a walk and a stretch in the park, the lunch, going back for a nap, a massage, whatever it was, every single thing we did in the build-up to that game when we were in Luxembourg was focused on that game.
Cardiff Met, who are students that pay £150 a season to play, are up against Progress, a team with a £4 million budget and who beat Rangers 2 years ago.
1-0 result was a good result in many ways. 2-1 would have been better, and as you say, the away goal would have been crucial for us, but it wasn't to be. But we kept the tie alive, and we knew that we could play better when we got back home.
We were confident we could do something. Now, whether we knew exactly what that was, we were confident we could do something. That was probably to upset them, get at least the goal, to make a real good game of it.
We earned that. I think the story itself had been written about so many times about this group of students that come from the depth of Welsh football and now in European football, and rightly so. It's a story, and it's a really good story. It's a story that has its ups and its downs.
I think, going back to my first ever game, I think there was 15 people at King Croyd. I think there were 3 dogs, and then you take that to Leckwith 4 years later. There's over 1,300 people there, and they're there to watch Met.
They have a unity that is special. They have a bond that is special.
For a university side, it's something that you'd never dream of.
We represented Cardiff for one night only.
It was a hell of a start. I think the first ball that went long there, or Lammy jumped straight into their defender, did everything we asked of them, and then we get a foul and we work it well and it goes in, and just somehow Lammy's nodded one in.
The gunner. He met Elliot Evans. Sy'n ceisio creu am ei gol I Met Caerdydd am ddechrau.
You're taking the lead against the side as good as Progress. So, yeah, I think there was that belief that we can do it, and that ran, I think, through the players and also through the crowd as well.
Dylan Lys, Will Evans yn disgwyl amdani, yn codi dar gol geidwad, oedd yn ansicr. Mae'n Dico Smotin! Mae'n Davies yn disgyn! Mae'n Dico Smotin I Met Caerdydd! Gol. Rhys I Met Caerdydd. Dylan Lys! Yn taro! Met Caerdydd! Ar y blaen! Am eiliad! Am stori! Am olygfa! Met Caerdydd!
I did. I thought we were through, and that's not to say I was being naive in my thinking or a little bit aggressive in my thought. I just honestly felt that night, and over the 2 games really, that our plan had worked so well. I honestly did feel that we were going to go through right up till the end.
Captain Teal, pas glyfar gan Teal. Teal yw'r ysbrydoliaeth. Yw'r Teal yn gallu creu, mae'n neud y god, mae'n ei taro.
Gutting when that goal went in, because you know that chances have been few and far between. We've got a soft penalty to take the lead, so we need to find something else and dig deep.
So ni wedi gweld hyn, Emlyn Lewis ar tafiad hir. Reit I mewn i'r canol, ble mae'n glanio! Am arbediad! Am arbediad! Mae Met yn bygwth eto, Dylan Lys! McCarthy! Laws eto!
If I could revisit any 3 or 4 minutes of a football game I've ever played in, managed in, that'd be the 3 or 4 minutes I'd go back to, because it was unbelievable. Those last few minutes, thinking we were knocking on the door and just about to kick it in, but unfortunately, it wasn't to be. Sense of pride, privilege to work with the players, and whilst we'd lost, we'd won. We may have lost the overall tie, but we'd won. Why we won? Because for 11 years ago we were in the depth of Welsh football, and to be, for one night, we represented Cardiff, we represented Welsh football, and it was an unbelievable achievement for the players to win. But that was then, this is now, we go again.